The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And I have to apologize for the show Wednesday. I was trying, but I was worshiping in the porcelain bowl right before the show. I believe I had food poisoning. So I was in bed for 2 days with a fever, vomiting, and you know the rest of it.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
We don't need that much information right now. But
TMI,
well, what a day we have today. We got tons of stuff to deal with, and I think we'll save yesterday's fiasco and CJ's great camera work. But I guess we should start with
some of the older stuff, I guess.
Yeah, police chief denies drinking on duty, and after mayor sees video, and I don't know there's not much you can say about this, CJ, because we have to let everything play out. I mean, he's saying he didn't drink on duty, and there's supposedly a video, and there are all kinds of questions, but realistically, there's no answers, and I think that we got to allow the investigation to play out. I know they wrote the article, and they're going to give you he said, she said, but in situations like this, you got to wait to see who can prove what.
Exactly. And what's very interesting is prior to a policy change implemented several weeks ago, former police officers were not required to document time off. Coogan said that 2 to 3 weeks ago, and before he was made aware of the video, he began requiring all city employees to document time off, comp time or time accumulated. That's interesting.
They don't have to. They have to document it. How can they not know when you take a personal day or comp time?
But they did it before. Now they do.
So they don't know if you ever took a comp day. So you can cash in your comp days and your personal days, and you took them. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So there you go. There's another contribution to the deficit. Screw the taxpayer. We'll just give them. They can take all the time off they want. Nobody documents anything. So theoretically, they don't have to show up. But hey, let's see what happens. There's going to be a lot of stuff here. And while we're on a city, after 3 years, federal funding resurged to Fall River job creation industry. Oh yeah, one of our favorite places, BC.
BCEDC.
EDC. So they're getting money. Well, all the money in the world hasn't been successful because I haven't seen much success from that agency.
And they used to be FROED. So of course the grumbling started when they got the money, saying, see, the old boy network's getting the money. We knew Kenny Fiola was going to get the money. The problem is that this money did not get awarded by the mayor. The mayor, if you remember, said very clearly, I'm leaving the decision to Mike Dion, who's the director of the community development.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was never a big fan of FROED.
Oh, neither was I.
But you have to give credit where credit is due. They did something.
Right.
They may not have done enough to satisfy us. They may not have been as effective as we felt they should be. But they did something.
Exactly.
And what has Fall River done since we lost them?
Not much.
Zero.
Right.
We gave somebody a 4-day work week.
That's right.
And a pay. And we also said if the money doesn't come through for her, we're going to pick up the tab. Or let's make it clear, the taxpayers are going to pick up the tab.
And the only thing she really accomplished the whole time she was in that office was a TIF for a company that might come to Fall River.
Might, yeah. and we all know what happens with TIFs because we saw the report from Columbia and
Yeah, they're Princeton,
Yale or something.
Princeton or something, yeah.
But then again,
not like they're credible.
While we're on the city note, Rhode Island State Police arrest veteran firefighter for soliciting a child. Well, due process, innocent until proven guilty, but obviously this is this is really inexcusable. It's reprehensible. But innocent until proven guilty, and apparently he was arrested while supposedly at the meeting place he was going to meet the underage child. So, but I had that discussion yesterday at the meeting, after that meeting with people, and look, it always disturbs me that news media feel obligated to also include the profession. You know, all you're held to a higher standard. Well, yeah, but I've never seen veteran plumber or veteran mason or veteran carpenter arrested for soliciting a child. It's always public employee. So that disturbs me, but the crime disturbs me even more. But it only because, you know, you're going to say, well, they should say that. I don't know. I disagree because, you know, I don't care what profession it is. There are good and bad in everything. There are good doctors. There are doctors who are, unfortunately, pedophiles and sexual predators, and there are lawyers who are, and mill workers who are, and it's, you know, the human condition. And like I said,
or the inhuman condition.
You know, and that's why Samuel Clemens said, man is the only animal that can blush and the only one that needs to. And stuff like this reminds us why we need to blush sometime, because it's hard to even for me to even think about that. So we'll see what that case plays out too. You know, again, this is allegations.
But have you noticed Fall River always makes the news with a black eye?
Yeah, very, very big black eye.
And the thing is, we only have two eyes, so how come we get so many
That's
of them?
right, yeah. Well, now, you know, as soon as they begin to heal, they get
they get another one.
Black again. Rhode Island Department of Health confirms first presumptive positive case of coronavirus. Everybody's in a total panic, even though more people die from the flu. And with your background, you don't know, but the fact is that, look, they even said Corona beers sales have fallen off because people won't even buy a beer that has Corona in it. I saw that on TV yesterday. It was just, I was.
You have to laugh.
You know, really... I was laughing, but it was like, it's mystifying how some people's brains work. It's like, I'm not going to go drink a Corona beer because... And did they make that out of the coronavirus?
Since that story posted, Rhode Island and Massachusetts now have more confirmed cases and several presumptive cases. The ones in Rhode Island come from a school called St. Raphael's Academy. They went to Italy. And when they came back, they started showing up with people who were positive for coronavirus or COVID-19. We just recently also had a report of a person from Tennessee who flew into Boston and flew back to Tennessee the same day, and he's got the coronavirus. So how many people did he infect when he was here? It's amazing how it goes. I mean, if you look in New York, with one person, they had 13 people in one day infected, just from familial connections. Yeah. So it's very easily transmitted from what I understand, but it's not, you're going to get it off of surfaces more than you're going to get it off of somebody else. keep your hands away from your face. Don't touch your mouth. Don't touch your nose. Don't touch your eyes.
Wash your hands. for
Wash your
20
hands regularly. You know, and don't buy $99 hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, go down to the dollar store and get some antibacterial dishwashing soap.
Anything that will do. I mean, this is getting nuts. You can't buy the stocks on the maker of Clorox went through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy Clorox in the stores. You really can't. There's
And
no
there was somebody actually, I heard today, was trying to buy stocks in Purell.
I believe
And
it.
they had to be told that Purell isn't a traded company. It's a family-owned business.
Yeah.
So they're making a zillion. So look, that's one thing. Cause a panic.
Yeah.
Cause a panic, and the people you can fleece the people. And while we get the fleecing of people, we go to our next big thing. The $600 million transportation bill, hiking the gas tax, ride-sharing fees, approved by your friends and neighbors, our state representatives, the people who never stop taking your money. No matter how much you give them, like the city of Fall River, they have an insatiable appetite. They get their pay raises, they get everything. You don't get anything except your pocket picked. And again, and the only good thing is we have an Associated article that said Baker vows to veto the gas tax, but they may override his veto.
Yeah, they have the votes to override the veto. Now,
So here you go again. They're going to tax you to death, even though, do I remember correctly, even though I know I've been sick, and but didn't we have a $1.1 billion surplus this
yes,
year?
we did. Yes, we did.
Isn't like $1 billion bigger than $600 million?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's about
not
60,
sure.
It's about
but I think
60% of it.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we gotta do everything to force people to ride the T. So
and here's the
ride
best part
sharing
about it.
fees, gas taxes, and remember when you see your friendly neighborhood state rep, and thank him for the screwing that you got.
Yes,
Again.
because all 3 state reps voted for this. I checked the voting record on it. All 3 state reps voted for this. So, of course, they didn't represent their constituents. They represented the Speaker of the House. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Now, the majority of that money is going for the T. Where's the T for us? Why are we always paying for the MBTA? It doesn't service the entire state. It services Boston.
Yeah, because
Boston pays for it.
You're right.
Let Boston, let Austin, let Cambridge, let those cities and towns and pay for it that the T actually services. Why does the entire state have to pay for it?
When it comes to taxes, everybody pays. When it comes to money, only a few get it. And that's the key. You're right. But why do we pay? Because the MBTA is one of the biggest dumping grounds for political hacks relatives.
Yeah,
We all
I
know
understand that. Now, here's the other thing. The justification for the vote. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's also going to make money available to the regional transit authorities like CERTA. CERTA is another big public transportation failure. How many public transportation systems that are successful operate from 6 in the morning to 6 at night? Let's be real.
Well, the gas tax is going from 24 cents to 29. Diesel 4 cents. Gas tax is expected to bring an extra 150 to 175 million annually, while the diesel tax will 32 million. And look, all they do, and DeLeo, isn't that the guy that? Yeah,
That's the
our
speaker.
buddy DeLeo.
Yep.
That got himself a giant stipend for being the. Yeah,
The Speaker of the House, yes.
that's right.
Just like our state
and
representatives
this is his
did.
quote. This should be no surprise. You know something? I very rarely agree with DeLeo. But I have to admit, he's right on the money with this. This is not a surprise to me that you pinheads are going to tax us to death. You're right, DeLeo. It is not a surprise that you guys are taxing us again, even though we got over $1 billion surplus. And this is his second one. When it comes to our transportation system, revenue can't wait. Well, I got news for you. I think it can. But now when we're talking about balancing the budget on the taxpayers and on the working man and on the people who do all the work and get the least, but get taxed the most proportionately. We'll segue into yesterday's meeting. I had a cameraman par excellence, C.J. Ferry.
That nudge.
Tape our meeting. It will be available with the Public Employees Committee meeting. We basically requested or demanded the mayor come down to that meeting because, again, Mary Sahadi's misrepresentation of the actual facts of the increase in the health care costs.
Which she did to the city council.
Which she did to the city council, which means that she was malfeasant. She intentionally misrepresented the number to fit her narrative. And the good thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to actually watch it because we taped it and it will be available.
It'll be
and
airing
we will
on Channel
make it
95.
available to all. You will see me ask the people who came up with the numbers if it was in fact 5.7%, and also the fact that when she got the 8%, she left out all the rebates, which you can't do. And they confirmed that this is the way we've always done it. It is in fact 5.7, and she gave a false figure. She gave a figure to fit her narrative, to lie to the council, to again create hysteria. They also admitted that we're paying less for health care today than we were 10 years ago. So how can that be the problem area? It's a very interesting meeting, and when there were any comments, Mary Sahadi had no comments because the facts are the facts. And when the mayor said, well, you know, people got their numbers, I said, no, these are the actual numbers. And I questioned the individual who the city has hired to do our projections for the last 30 years. She admitted that it was 5.7. She said how she got there, and she said the 8% did not factor in our rebates, which are always factored in. They're part of our agreement that we get 25% of those rebates. And all healthcare premiums are predicated on experience, but they're always educated guesses. They also reaffirm the fact that we have never run over budget in years, resting on those projections. So again, this is the problem with the city of Fall River. They always balance the budget on the backs of the taxpayers and city employees. And the high-paid city employees don't care because they're getting stipends and automatic cost of living raises and all kinds of stuff. So these things don't bother them. But I brought out at that meeting that when we had the $8 million shortfall in the budget when Flanagan was the mayor, that's when they changed our health care plan. And they shifted $8.3 million of out-of-pocket expenses to the employees. So, again, they didn't save, and they lied then. They went in front of council and lied. They said it's going to cost us less going to this plan. And it didn't. It cost exactly the same amount. The only difference is $8.3 million was picked up by the employees who make a lot less than the people who were sitting there lying their butts off.
And remember a comment from the mayor. It was very clear to me. Why you have to bypass your, and I'm paraphrasing totally, you have to bypass your pay raise to keep your insurance rate the same. Because if we give you a pay raise, we've got to raise your insurance rate, so there goes your pay rate, so you're actually going to be leaving with a lower take-home pay. Well, and that's a big paraphrase, so.
And yeah, and then I held up more than once the paper from 1990, which said exactly the same thing. Pay raises or health care. And that we sued them, audited, and found out they had enough money to do both. And so again, figures don't lie, but liars can figure. Mary Sahadi should be censured for knowingly bringing a false figure to the council. She knew that those rebates are factored into that premium. And she left them out to fit her narrative. And as I said on it, and you can watch it, please. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing myself now. But I believe I told the mayor, when he said, well, everybody's got figures, I said, no, this is the figures that the premium has been set on by the people who set the premium. I said, I'm not making a number up to fit my narrative. I'm not saying 4% when it's 5.7, like she said 8%. I'm saying 5.7 because that's the number. And I reaffirmed it with the individual who's responsible for that. And she did, in fact, the person who's in charge of the healthcare and doing all the numbers, Gallagher, which used to be Group Benefit Strategies, admitted on the camera that the rate was 5.7.
And she
so
said
again,
that was conservative.
Look at how we closed the deficit the last time with Flanagan. We changed the health care, took it out of the employees' pockets, and raised their taxes. And next year, they're going to try again to go to the GIC, because they've already called for the numbers. And he said, oh, no. But they've actually called for the numbers. And they have already said, rumors abound, that the debt override that was promised by who?
Mr. Coogan.
When he was point man for the school. And every meeting he said, well, we don't have to worry about that right now. That's not even going to appear till 2023. Is now going to appear in 2021.
Well, we're not sure of that yet. I mean, we've heard this rumor.
The rumor is,
we've heard this rumor before.
No, okay, we're not sure of it, but let's look at this objectively. They're trying to blame the health care. The only part of the city budget that has actually been reduced, not grown over the past 10 years, which means it is a far smaller part of this budget in 2020 than it was in 2010.
Plus, the city doesn't fund it totally. Plus, the city doesn't fund it totally. And Mary Sahadi says that every
exactly
time.
right. And even with the funding, we're always on the budget. So is that the area you look at? No, we got to look at all areas. Well, no. You know, stuff that you have budgeted for the past 20 years, if that stays the same in your budget, you obviously do not have to look at that. You're going to try to cut there, but it's not a cut, it's a cost shift. You're going to take money out of the pockets. You're going to increase the taxes on these people. So people be prepared. There's going to be a big fight next year. Because I will, and CAG, Citizens Alliance for Accountability Government, an organization which I fundamentally created and has been fairly dormant because the fights have been piecemeal, but I think it's time for us to actively look for, if they do that, we will actively advocate for an underride of taxes, because it is clear that they're not looking at areas in collective bargaining agreements that should be removed to save money. They're not looking at how we got here. You know, like an alcoholic or a drug addict who wants to become clean, they have to first admit that they have a problem and where the problem is from. The problem isn't from the health care. We have proven over the years the hard work of the people that are on the IAC, on the city side too, but not the bean counters, as I refer to them, not the Mary Sahadis and the Kathy Ann Viveras who like to blame the retirement system, which they underfunded, the health care, which is being maintained, as the problem, and get away from the real problem. That the issue here is, where are we spending all this money? What have we done wrong to accumulate a $4.7 million deficit? Nobody wants to look. Nobody wants a forensic audit. Nobody wants to say, tighten the belt, streamline government, find out where we went wrong. No, it's like, okay, we'll give everybody less money, we'll screw them on their health care, we'll get a debt override, and we'll raise their taxes. Well, if you're going to do that forever, which obviously we are, because we're using the same recipe to look at this deficit that we did with Flanagan. And how much success was that? We didn't eradicate the root problem. The root problem has never been identified by the city. So I guess if they don't want to do the work to really fix it, their answer is to tax more and take benefits away from everybody. I guess it's up to the citizens of Fall River to stop it by voting for an underride, by voting for a repeal of the CPA, by repealing as many taxes as we can. Because you give them the Sahara Desert, they're going to run out of sand. Why do they run out of sand? They just keep spending. All the city cares about is getting enough money in to do what they've done. And obviously what they've done over the years is wrong, because we continue periodically to run into deficits. That's when all these automatic pay raises and stipends start biting them in the butt, because they're not costed out properly. The long-range effects of these are not looked at accurately, and it's not fixing the problem. Bleeding the taxpayer dry and going in front of the council and saying that you'll always get a 2.5 increase is not acceptable to me as a taxpayer. Cutting my benefits after you've already cut them drastically when the last time you had a deficit, after we gave up, and I said it at the meeting, we gave up things to get those. And I know Mr. Cougar said, well, yeah, health care. Well, health care is a bargainable issue. And unions knew full well, and we took zeros or smaller pay raises in order to negotiate a decent health care plan. And then our state legislature, in hand with our council, took it right out of our pockets again, because they took it out, they took the element out, and they passed 21 through 23 to make it more and more difficult for us to protect what we earned, what we negotiated. And the taxpayer is always in harm's way in this city, because the only way they know how to balance the budget is to screw the taxpayer. And yesterday's meeting is an eye-opener. So I advise everybody to watch the meeting, because it clarifies one thing, and I appreciate it that it was on camera, and I appreciate the mayor coming down and standing there and discussing it, because now nobody can say that we didn't know that what Mary Sahadi said at the last council meeting was a lie. It's not 8%, it's 5.7%. And if she goes back there and tries to manufacture something again, somebody should file a complaint against her. And the city council should not tolerate it. She was in the room, was she not, CJ?
Yes, she was. She sat there and she didn't open her mouth.
And it was asked if anybody had any other comments about what the discussion was. And what did she say?
Nothing. She
Nada.
sat there silently.
Silently. So, and we broke it down. So look at the meeting. And, you know, we try to be cooperative. We negotiate, and we can be disagreeable without being. We can disagree without being disagreeable, but there's going to be a major fight over this tax increase or this anticipated early implementation of the debt override and any attempts to go to the GIC, which, by the way, I just found out this morning, next year the GIC is going to be in total chaos, because they're going out for bids and reworking all their benefit packages. So nothing's carved in stone with the GIC that they're looking at today. So good luck with that. And everybody, have a good weekend. Sorry I was sick. I really missed talking to you guys. So
have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
And stay angry.